What's going on, billionaires? Welcome to the Billionaires Mindset. I am your host, Harry Billion. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for clicking on this video. Hopefully, maybe the thumbnail brought you here, or you're just bored and you just happen to just find this thing. Maybe you're a friend of mine and you're like, hey, I know Harry B. What in the world is he talking about now? I know him for talking about sports and Deion Sanders. This guy needs to leave this political stuff alone. I'm not going to leave it alone. But welcome to the Billionaires Mindset. Everybody's talking about this Biden pardon, and I wanted to add my voice to it. And I'm going to get one of my favorite political creators, Reese Waters, to help me out a little bit. He did a video on the entire thing. He made so much sense. And I'm like, that's what he's saying makes so much sense. And sometimes you get caught up in the comments and you really want to just say stuff. And I was like, hey, why not I just make a video reacting to his reaction to the entire thing? So this is a reaction to his reaction. And because I wanted to add my voice because I feel like there's something that's going on in this country that's kind of weird. I feel like we choose sizes and we don't allow ourselves to be open to discussion. And I'm hoping that this is an opportunity for us to pay attention. Because I don't want to think that people on the other side are just ignorant and they don't care about truth, because it's starting to feel that way. It's not starting. It feels that way. So let me get my guy, Reese Waters. Hey, Reese, man, thank you for making this video. I did comment on it on my other channel, TLP Sports Club. So if you see that channel or if you see that comment, TLP Sports Club, hey, that's me. For those of you who are, who are viewers of TLP Sports Club, this is my other channel. TLP Sports Club will be going live at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. So in about an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, you will see me over there on TLP Sports Club, where I talk college football. But for now, let's bring on my guy, Reese Waters, so that he can help me to have this conversation about why Biden, the real reason why Biden pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. And I think something that you miss in this conversation, something very, very small, but very important that you miss in this conversation, I want to talk about. Stay tuned for that. Let's go.
Start getting lit up with notifications that right-wing Twitter, specifically Black consumer, which means probably one thing. It's nothing. Nah, it can't be. Can't be.
After the election, you said that you were disappointed but optimistic. How are you feeling right now?
I feel the same way because, I mean, what's the other option? Right. So I still believe in this higher power called God.
Yeah.
And, you can't believe in God when, things go your way and not believe in God when things don't go your way.
Okay, I'm going to split the difference with you, Charlemagne. First of all, I appreciate your stance, and that's actually one of the things that I advocated after the election. We don't really have much of a choice, but the reality is that people have been in far darker places than we find ourselves in right now, yet we had the optimism that we had before the election. There is every reason to feel like the pendulum will swing the other way. But if that's going to happen, we have to keep taking steps forward. But as far as what you said about you can't only believe in God when things go your way. Oh, boy, it sounds good. But they found this loophole in MAGA, whereby you get to say everything that you don't like that doesn't go your way is the devil. So therefore, everything is God's will when it goes your way. But when it doesn't go your way, then it's the devil triumphing. So that's what there is a.
Yeah. So that part right there is one thing that I want to also highlight. This is not the main point that I want to make, but this is a point that he made that I want to highlight, because I feel like when you got Jimmy Swaggart's son saying that the Black church supporting the Democratic Party, supporting Harris, was we're supporting the devil, and you got all these allegations against Trump. We talk about everything that Trump goes through. Like it makes me feel like there's some disingenuousness going on. It makes me feel like either we're tone deaf to what's really going on, but when we say, hey, take and look at Trump, it makes me wonder, what are you thinking? Like, what exactly are you thinking is going on the other side? So Trump is a convicted felon. When we bring that up, what do you say? You say, oh, that was a witch hunt. Every single thing that he's going to court for and lost was a witch hunt. And that's what you're standing on. And then you say, oh, yeah, but this is one thing I wanted to say. The thing about the United States system, if you say you love it, you're a patriot, you love the system. The thing about the system is, let's say I give you witch hunt, right? I'll give you witch hunt, and if I give you witch hunt, even though I don't want to, because I don't think it's a witch hunt, right? But I said, let's just say for argument's sake, I'll give you witch hunt. So now you got your witch hunt. The thing about that witch hunt is once you go to court, once you take it to court, within our system, the United States system, this is where I live now, right? I'm African, but I live in the United States. So after that witch hunt, you now have to go to court and you have to prove it. You need evidence. So there's this funny thing that goes on where there's other witch hunts that's going on, and for some odd reason we say, hey, when the cops pull over Latinos or they pull over black people, let's say Latinos for ICE, and they pull over black people for certain things, we say, oh, go to court and stop resisting, go to court, and you can have your day in court. That's the thing we say, which is an indicator that we like our system. So if we like our system and we revel in the American, judicial system, and we say, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is our system. You will have your day. You have people literally every single time something happens to a black person. Let's say a cop versus a black person, a white cop. The first thing we say is, hey, you will have your time in court. Why are you resisting? The cop pew pew you is YouTube, so we can't say the real word. The cops will pew pew you because you were resisting. All you had to do was listen to what the cop said, go to court, and you will have your day in court. But then we come back to Trump and we say, okay, after the witch hunt, he has his day in court. And the way that the court system works is you got to present evidence to back up the case on the witch hunt. And then if that evidence sticks, the jury of your peers are going to judge you, are going to weigh that, and they are going to decide whether you are guilty or not. Does this sound familiar? I mean, is there any type of familiarity in this thing? It either works for them or it doesn't work for us. I don't understand it. It's only one-sided, right? So Trump gets his time in court. He gets found guilty. It's still a witch hunt. In New York, where I live at, Trump was found guilty for his dirty business deals. All the dealings that he's had as a business person, he was found guilty. If you're saying that's a witch hunt, I said, okay, let's say it started with the witch hunt, but what happens to this billionaire This guy, right, pun intended, what happened to this quote unquote billionaire, which I don't believe he is, but what happened to this quote unquote billionaire who has all of this money, lots of power, former president, right? So he can represent himself. He ain't some poor person that can't afford bail bond or anything like that. He can get the best representation possible that money can buy. So this guy who started with the witch hunt, then goes to court, is found guilty. Remember, you love the court system. So then what happened to the witch hunt? The results. Is it still a witch hunt? So then all of the people that were prior to him, all of the blacks and Latinos, all of the people of color that were done wrong, that were witch hunted and brought to court, how do we take those people? How do we see those people? Just think about it for a second, guys. I know that we all are geniuses. I know that when we get online, we have these discourse. We talk and we talk and we talk, and it's like it doesn't make sense. Let's bring it down to its core. Let's bring it down to its common denominator. The common thing. Does it make sense that it starts with a witch hunt, but the guy actually committed the crime? So everything that he's found guilty for, the other side says that was a witch hunt. He's perfect. He's okay. It's okay. Really? You really, really believe that? I really want to know. Do you really believe that? Let's keep going with my guy, Reese Waters. Come on, Reese. What else you got? I just want this to make sense. Please make it make sense. That's all I'm asking. Just make it make sense.
There is a whole faction, and a rather large one at that.
Please explain that. And how does it make you feel that the campaign used you like that?
Well, it's never good to be taken out of context, but I was explaining to my listeners how effective I thought the actual ad was. Like, what I didn't like the most was that they didn't do anything to combat it. And you know what else I would have did if I was our campaign? Since Donald Trump used me, I would have used Joe Rogan.
Because that's what's
This is the premium Garmin Duffel 45 liter by Half Day. It's a transforming 2-in-1 travel duffel bag for long
expected of Democrats.
But that's agreeing on both.
So here is the part that I really wanted to hunker down on. Here's the part where I want to talk about. Let's listen in.
Those 2 points. Do you find it appropriate to fix your lips to criticize the Hunter Biden pardon? I mean, make that make sense.
Please.
You get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. Listen, they don't have to do that.
Okay.
So, so it's the Democrats' fault. The Democrats they created a platform of standing on the moral high ground, and they have to now eat this. They have to stand on that moral high ground, and that's it. So the Republicans is okay because they got a candidate who's Donald Trump, and he is corrupt. He is a felon. He is a guy that is just not a good, like when it comes to everything that's wrong, you can find it in this guy. So you're saying that, oh, okay, wait a minute. Since he did not stand on a moral high ground or did not stand on a soapbox that has any type of morality, it's okay for him to do what he does. Sometimes I don't understand how to make this make sense to certain people, because the one thing that you're missing, guys, is that it's a reflection on us. We are the ones. Us, the voters, the American society, us, we're responsible, guys. It is on us. It's a reflection of who we are. That is what I want to point out. We are the ones that are doing it, because let me slow down, because I get very emotional with these type of topics, because I feel like people are not paying attention. what you want, what you accept in society, how you want your leaders to be is how they're going to be. What you allow, the things that you say that is okay, it's how they're going to react. It's how they are going to be. So if you say on one hand, we want our first lady to be dignified, then Michelle Obama cannot wear short sleeves. She has to look dignified for the office that she stands in. That is the moral ground. That's where we want our people to be, right? So anybody that has anything contrary to that, then it is not okay. Okay. So then we have Trump's wife who has photos of herself naked out there. And you're like, wait a minute, but that's okay. So then you scratch out the other moral, you scratch out the other thing that you said you wanted. You wanted a dignified first lady, right? So you say, okay, no, that's no longer the standard. We don't want that to be the standard. Now this is the standard. You have to understand that that's a reflection. What we want, how we want our leaders to be, how we uphold the office of the president is how it's going to happen. So you elect leaders that represent the morals or the morality or how you want your country to be represented out there in society with the other countries and presidents. We're dignified over here. But you're scratching that. You're saying, nope, it doesn't matter because we rather have the felon than that lady that has no experience that puts black men in jail when she was a DA. You rather have him, right? You want Barabbas, right? You want Barabbas. So now when you get Barabbas, for those of you who are not Christian, Barabbas was a thief. He was the guy that was on, Barabbas was the guy that was next to Jesus on the cross. All right. He was part of the rebellion. Okay. He started a rebellion. So he was right there on the cross. And Jesus was on the other side as well. All right. When the Jewish people started to present Jesus as the guy that they wanted to be crucified, when the Caesar, whoever it was, I forget. Forgive me, okay? When he said, I don't find no fault in this here, your Jewish king. I don't know what you want from me. But here's our rules. We always allow one person to be let go. Who would you want for me to let go? Give us Barabbas. The thief, give us Barabbas. So you got your Barabbas. You set the principle. You said this is what it was. So now you got your Trump. But now, this weird thing that you're doing, now, I told y'all before that you got to be careful with this one because there are going to be things that happen in our society now that you have no moral ground to stand on and argue at all. And this is the first example. He's not even sworn in for his second term yet. And here we go. President Biden, I was about to say Obama. President Biden pardons his own son. I'm going to get to that in a second, guys. I'm going to get to that. The reason why I had to go live on this. President Biden pardons his own son. And you guys have an issue with it. You're saying that's wrong. How dare you? How dare you say that's wrong? How could you? How could you? You wanted your Barabbas. You got Barabbas. Barabbas goes out and he's a thief. He does what thieves do. Steal, kill, destroy, do whatever he does. That's what thieves do. That's what thugs do. Donald Trump is literally a thug. Donald Trump is the epitome of what a thug is. He bullies people. He talks poorly about them. He wants revenge. So, I ask you this question and I'll leave it here. knowing who Donald Trump is, he doesn't play by the rules. He's a convicted felon. He felt like people are after him. It was a witch hunt. Every single case that he's been through, all of them, the rape case, witch hunt. The business in New York case, witch hunt. The January 6th, witch hunt. Everything that he's gone through is a witch hunt. Every single thing is all a witch hunt. So he wants blood. He has a list of political enemies that he's ready to go after. I set that up for you to see this big picture. So Donald Trump is sitting there, ready to go to war, ready to get people back. That is where the presidency is going to be at. He's going to spend his first couple of years going after people, pettily going after people. I don't even know that's a term. But he's going to be going after his political enemies. And here sits Hunter Biden in a system where he already felt like his political enemies were trying to bring him down to lose and to go to jail. Right? Now here comes Hunter Biden, where his crimes, the thing that he was guilty for, does not even compare. It pales in comparison to the things that Trump has done and has been convicted of. But yet he felt like he had enemies on the other side. So President Biden is president right now for a few more weeks, few more months. His son is in this court system where Donald Trump is the president. He has power to talk to certain people. He can strong arm them. He was doing that before he was even a nominee, before he was even running for president. He was doing that. And now that he's president, all he got to say is one word: judges, court appointees, lawyers would do his bidding. And you wanted Hunter Biden, the president's son, to be sitting in that system, and where he was going to be going through everything that you do in the court system. And President Biden said, something is amiss here, because what he did, how he did it, other people have done X, Y, and Z, similar things, and it didn't take this much. We didn't go this far. We didn't take it this far. It seems like somebody's trying to prove a point. So if I got this power and my son is sitting there and I know that this guy that has a vendetta against everyone, when you just bring something that he did his own doing, if you do it, he would say somebody's after him. The elections, you say you love our system. You're a patriot. He denied the elections happened. You said, oh yes, Donald Trump is right. They cheated him. So he denied that. All of that. And you think in your brain, in your limited brain, you thought that President Biden was going to leave his son in that system for him to get a fair case, knowing that what has already transpired based on the crime, based on what was in front of them, and how it has previously been handled in other cases where they were just like, all right, cool, you're out of here, go take care of your business. Knowing that he has already been going through way more than the regular case that was in front of them. I'm not talking about the case that was in the public. I'm talking about the case that is in front of a judge. Biden already knew that his son is spending way too much time doing something that other defendants didn't have to do. So he said, if I leave my son here and he has to go through the regular process, he's not going to get the regular process. He ain't going to get a fair shake. So instead of me taking this quote unquote moral high ground that Trump and his people don't abide by anyway, why am I going to do that? I can just pardon my son. It don't even make sense. Like, for you to sit there and act like this is not normal, it's asinine. It's crazy, my guy. You got all these political dudes now making videos and doing blah, blah. I said, there's no way. There is no way you have any moral high ground to say anything. If you supported Trump, both sides are immoral. Both sides are wrong. Both sides are dirty. I ain't saying the Democrats are better. I ain't saying the Republicans are worse. I'm just telling you that both sides are dirty. And for you now to sit there and try to make it seem like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, stop playing with me, man. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. You elected a felon as the president of the United States. There's going to be laws. There are going to be laws that prevent him from traveling outside of the country because he's a felon. Yes, you can have him as your president, but he ain't coming over here. He can't get on no plane and come and enter our airspace because he's a felon. And our law says we can't get no felons over here. So y'all can have him. He can do your bidding all you want. Over here, we do things a little differently. That guy, he's your president. He's our president. Both sides are dirty. But now it seems like Trump can say whatever he wants to say during the campaign. The second Biden says his people are crazy. They're the ones that's dirty. Guess what happens? Everybody's in an uproar. I said, wait, what? They are what? Trump has been calling people all kinds of crazy names, calling them names that their mama didn't name them. And now all of a sudden, Biden says one thing, he loses the election. Kamala Harris loses the election because of what Biden says. Y'all are crazy. Come on, man. Like, what moral ground are you standing on? A lady said that Trump took advantage of her. They went to court. She won her case. New York City brought a case against him. They said, hey, man, all of the business you've been doing, you've been lying on your applications, and you've been getting loans on top of loans to build all of these buildings, to do these construction works that you've been doing. You got to be held reliable. You got to be held liable for that. $334 million, $334 million, I believe, that he has to pay back. I hope it wasn't billion, right? I think it was million. Yo, that's not a witch hunt. It may have started as a witch hunt, but you got to prove that stuff. You don't just say, hey, man, you owe us $334 million. We want our money back. Oh, guess what? All right. The judge is going to say, okay, you owe it. No. You got to bring lawyers. You got to bring case. You got to bring your evidence and prove that in the United States judicial system. So if it was a witch hunt, bro, after the evidence and everything is still a witch hunt, you're crazy. If that's the case, then stop saying that every time a black person gets in an entanglement with the police, stop resisting, have your day in court. Because if you don't believe in the court system for a billionaire or quote unquote billionaire, what kind of shakes do you think a poor black person who's already disenfranchised, treated terribly in this Americas, how do you believe they're going to shake out in that same system that you don't believe that a billionaire is going to get a fair shake? How do you think that's going to happen? You can't be dense in this here. These type of conversations, I live in a world where being a truthful person trying your best to tell the truth and live by those truths, being a man, a real man, living with a standard, having standards. I just believe that. I believe that's a part of what we're supposed to be, a man of God. And I watch men of God. I watch people like Candace Owens, who's a woman of God. She claims to be. Is supposed to be holding some type of standard, but yet they're supporting a man with no standards. He has zero standards. He sells them a lie, and they say, "Yeah, that he's the best candidate." Let's say he's the best candidate, and he didn't have to have no standard. But then when something happens, now we're crying about the standard. Make that make sense to me. That's all I'm asking. If you're watching this video after the live, comment. Let's have a discussion. I want to have a sensible discussion. Make it make sense to me. How any Republican or anyone that supported Donald Trump can have a conversation about the party. Y'all should be like, well, duh, it took him long enough. That's what y'all should be saying. Like, bruh, we used to this. If I was to give you a list, of people that Trump has pardoned, if I was to give you a list of people that Trump has pardoned, Trump pardons former 49ers owner Eddie Bartolo Jr. No, D Bartolo, sorry. Trump also pardons Jared Kushner's dad, who paid a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law. Republican Rick Renzi, Robin Hayes, Mark, Jander, Randall, Duke. Trump has pardoned people that did not deserve to be pardoned. You guys have selective outrage. It's sad because not all of us have college education. Not all of us have high school education, but we all want to be part of the same conversation. Tell me how that works. How are we having conversations when we don't even know what we're talking about? How that work? We're not all educated. We don't all know the same thing. But here we are trying to make sense of something that should be pretty easy to understand. And some of us are just arguing. Because when you're typing, you're just angry. You're angry. I can't believe he did this. I can't believe he did this. And you don't even know why you're angry. Presidents have presidential pardon. They can pardon who they want. President's son, all right? The president's son, Hunter Biden, I don't care if he told you that he was not going to do that because that was the moral thing to do. I don't care if you believe that. Whether he lied, he's now covering up his lie. Whatever that means to you, it don't matter. Because I told you it's a reflection of us. This entire thing is a reflection of us. If that's what you want, then what you mad about? If it's okay with you that we don't have a president with high morals, a president that lies 30,000 times, a president that treats women with disrespect, a president that's a convicted felon, if that's what you wanted, then what are you mad about that you're getting it? You're saying that was okay. You said it was okay. When you say, yes, go ahead and put the convicted felon in office. Now you see other government officials doing things that are convicted, that people that with our morals are doing. You're saying that's wrong. How? I ain't the best. I'm not the most astute when it comes to this subject. But one thing about me is I sit back and I say, you know what? That's wrong. I know what's wrong. I ain't got to have a lot of book, yo. I ain't got to have a lot of education on the most political thing. I don't. But I can tell when something is wrong. I know when something is wrong. Is President Biden pardoning his son? Is it wrong? Based on the political theater that we have in our country, I would have to say no. Because at which moral standard are we evaluating that decision? That's where we have to define. We got to define which moral standard are we using to define what's wrong. Then we can come to a strong conclusion. But without a definition, it's very hard to smell what you're smelling. It's very hard to believe what you're putting out because you're outraged now. Now you're upset. I can't believe this. Oh my goodness. Shut up. Be quiet. Respectfully shut up. Sit down. Enjoy the party. Yeah. Shut up and enjoy it. It's theater. Stop being a heckler. When you go to the theater, you sit back and you enjoy the show. You don't talk. Okay? When you're in the theater, stop talking. Sit back and enjoy the show. Stop being a heckler. If it's going over your head, I'm sorry. But the political theater in America, it's a beautiful show. So you're just supposed to, when you get to the theater, you sit back, you enjoy the show, you don't talk. When you start talking, you become what's called a heckler in the theater. You're talking back now. Now you're talking back and then people can hear you. You're breaking that fourth wall. Stop breaking the fourth wall. Sit back, enjoy Biden pardoning his son. And then Trump is going to come and pardon all of the J6 people. The patriots who were beating cops. The ones that you love so much. Remember? The cops that you love so much. People that went and tried to beat them while they were doing their job. Just doing their job. You remember? Does that sound familiar? Oh, the cop is just doing his job. Stop resisting. Does it only work when it's for you? When it makes sense for you? Black people and Latinos in this country has been treated terribly by cops, but they're just doing their job. Stop resisting. Have your day in court. If the system is good, then it's got to be good for all. If it works for one, it's got to work for all. So if you like it and you are a patriot, then my friend, sit back and enjoy the show. I'm Harry Billion. I'm out.